And this week, we're talking about Dragon Ball Super, and more specifically, yes, I can get that word out. What went wrong with Super? Because a lot of people love talking trash about Super. There's a lot of things that people didn't like, but yeah, we're going to be discussing those things and talking about our own gripes with the show. So, a clickbait title. There it is. I hope you watch this first 30 seconds so then you can complain in the comments and look like a fool. But yeah, I'll let you start this thing off. Should we go arc by arc? Just say
Yeah.
the stuff that we don't like.
So the main five arcs of Super are there's God of Beerus, God of Destruction Beerus,
Mm-hmm.
and Golden Freezer. Universe 6 and Duplicate Vegeta are classified as one.
Mm-hmm.
There's Future Trunks, otherwise known as Goku Black,
Mm-hmm.
and then Universe Survival.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll start, of course, with God of Destruction Beerus.
Yeah.
Now, I, for the most part, really enjoyed God of Destruction Beerus.
Mm-hmm.
I did find it started out quite slowly. Um, and for the most part, I think the biggest gripe I had with the Beerus saga is mostly the amount of animation mistakes that they've made.
Yes.
I think
I
they,
completely agree with that.
yeah, I think they did pretty well with the story itself. I
Mm.
think they introduced Beerus very well. They built him up. You were interested in Beerus
Mm-hmm.
from the get go. You thought him and Whis' dynamic was great, and you were eager for him to come, but you never got sick, and you
Mm.
were never like, oh, for God's sake, can you just get there already? I didn't really feel that.
Yeah.
I was just patiently ready. I mean, there was episode 4 where it was just the Pilaf gang, and that was kind of ridiculous. I didn't need that. That was ridiculous. Like,
I can't even.
like
What did they do? They were just trying to steal the Dragon Balls, right?
yeah, it was just this random fill episode in episode 4. It's like you don't need that early.
To be
But
honest, what that was the first time that they were reintroduced since OG Dragon Ball, though, right?
yeah,
Like
but
they
you don't
weren't.
need it in episode 4 of the brand new
It's true,
show.
but also it's interesting to me that they did do that though, because I
It just
don't
didn't
think
translate with the Western audience as well as it did with the Japanese audience. I
mm,
think. I think that's
potentially, I don't
why.
know, because like I don't think we see them at all in Z, um, but
No.
they were around in OG Dragon Ball quite a bit. And
Yeah.
then for me, as an OG fan, I loved seeing them back. I thought it was interesting and unique, just because there's so many characters that have been forgot about over the years. And out of all characters to come back, it was the Pilaf gang, and I was like, ah, okay, this is interesting. Nice little throwback. Are they just going to be a one-off? Are they going to be recurring characters? And they're recurring characters now.
I think if you're going to do a filler episode of something like that, do it after an arc, not while you're looking to start an arc of the big bad 4 episodes into your brand new show, though. It was probably a very poor time to do it.
Yeah, I'll probably agree
But
with that.
yeah, but yeah, in terms of introduction, so for that I had no issue. Like otherwise, I was ready for Beerus. Everything was coming. It was good. I was happy with that.
Hmm.
I mean, they'd introduced Goku, they'd introduced Vegeta, they'd shown us where they were. I was fine.
Hmm.
Beerus was approaching, it was great. But you saw the animation mistakes and they weren't small.
Yeah.
They were very bad.
Yeah, I
And
think that
these
was
are things that stood out massively. And it's to the point where they're memed.
yeah, that was everyone's like main discrepancy about the start of Super, at least, because it does fix up after the Beerus arc, I guess, or maybe a little bit after that. But yeah, the first maybe 20-ish episodes of Super, not the best, and there's a lot of frames where they look like stick figures pretty much.
Yeah. There's like the one where it's Goku's standing, like floating behind Beerus, and he's got like a warped face and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
it's just like,
it's the Super Saiyan 3 Goku for me when he's fighting Beerus, and it's just the long hair, it just looks bad.
Vegeta with his backwards thumb, his backwards hand as well, where
I don't think I've seen that one.
yeah, he's stumbling towards Beerus or something like that, and he's like his hand is on the wrong hand.
Yeah. Wow.
But I think really the story of the God of Destruction, I'm happy with personally.
Yeah.
It's the animation that I feel falls down. It doesn't feel too long for me. I
Hmm.
feel, for the most part, I'm very happy with the God of Destruction arc. It doesn't feel too long. Once they get into it and the fights, it's all excellent. I
Hmm.
thoroughly enjoy the fighting. It doesn't. I don't feel it takes too long to get into it. You obviously have the that's my Bulma moments and everything like that. I mean, that's pretty much episode 7. Is that's my Bulma, and then you episode 8, Goku arrives, and then pretty much after that, you get the introduction of the new form.
Hmm.
I don't think there's any real issue with that being introduced because basically there's no reason for the Saiyans to know about it. It's God Key. I don't see why the Saiyans would know about it.
And it's hype as well because like Dragon Ball Z ended, and with Super, they needed something fresh, something to draw the kids in, new form, new hype, and it worked. And it's a shame that they got rid of it so quickly after
Yeah.
that. But
So
it worked for what it was, and for the short time it lasted as the new best form. Um, yeah, I've got no problems with it. I like the way it was, like how you achieved the form. You needed 5 Saiyans linking up together because apparently no 5 Saiyans have ever held hands together in a circle before to achieve this form.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
I didn't mind it overall.
yeah. I think I didn't have any major gripes. It was the animation like that down. So
Mm.
the actual story. So I thought it started out very strong,
Mhm.
which was a shame because leading into what happened next.
Yeah, but yeah, the arc overall was 18 episodes long, and
I
the
don't think that was too much personally.
I don't either because it was just a retread of the Battle of Gods film, because the
Mhm.
Battle of Gods film was released, I think, a year or maybe even 2 years before Super actually came out. So, that hour and a half long film got spread up into 18 episodes that added in a lot more detail. Obviously, bits of filler here and there, like you mentioned with the Peel Off Gang and stuff. But I guess they were also a little bit in the film as well. Um, yeah, I didn't mind it. I had no issues, and I like the fact that they changed up parts as well. Like in the film, in the film, the whole thing takes place on a boat. Boma's party's on the boat and everything. Out in the middle of the sea, they fight, and then instead in the show, it's at the Capsule Corp, and they're just in the back garden having a party instead.
I preferred it at Capsule Core personally.
Yeah, it made sense a bit more because I get it that Bummer's rich and everything, and yeah, she probably can't afford this massive yacht just for like 10 people, but it seemed a bit unnecessary.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like even though she is rich, you never really see her spend money, and it feels almost slightly out of character for her to spend so much just on like a massive yacht and a huge birthday bash instead of just having it in a back garden where you know feels like it would make
Everyone gets
sense.
together. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like karaoke is more what we know the characters to do.
yeah,
Dumb karaoke.
exactly. Yeah, so I like that. Like they changed bits of the film and it made sense, and I don't mind it at all.
Yeah, but not all in all, I thought it started well. It was
Mm.
more the animation side of things where it was the big letdown for me.
Yeah.
So, but following on from that, we then lead into Golden Freezer.
Hmm.
And this is where I personally find things change drastically. In
In a good way or a bad way?
a bad way.
Oh, really? Okay, I'm interested.
Yeah. I think this is where the downfall of Frieza begins.
Hmm. Okay, from a story standpoint, I see where you're going already. I guess I was looking at it I already know the film. I know what's gonna happen. Did they succeed in doing that in the show? But I
Yeah.
shouldn't be thinking of it like that because yeah, Super is Super, and this is what happened. So they made a canon. So yeah, I kind of agree. The treatment of Frieza wasn't great.
I mean, they took Frieza I mean, this guy's Freezer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is
The
one of
Dragon
the
Ball
more.
villain.
Yeah. He's well in anime. He's
Yeah.
one of the big bads of anime.
Yeah.
He and they just did him dirty.
Mm.
And you look at Super and you just think, what just happened?
Mm.
He was made a joke of in that film, absolute
Yeah.
joke. And you just watch it and you just think, and he comes out and he's flexing with his new form and everything, and you think, right. And really, what should be happening in that film is he should be coming out and you're thinking, right, now it's time for a fight.
Mm.
And basically, really, what the film is it's Goku and Vegeta flexing their form and then a planet gets blown up. That's
Yeah.
basically the film in a nutshell.
And
And
then
obviously all the 9 episodes, whichever you want to look at it. But that's basically it, like in a nutshell.
yeah.
Or Gohan getting zapped to bits, him shouting really loudly, his dad happened to catch on,
Mm.
and then them flexing on him, and them getting rid of Super Saiyan God.
Mm.
It,
Yeah.
it's such a deviation that it just doesn't.
Because
The fact that they chucked away Red as well.
yeah, it feels like they did the opposite of what they did with the Beerus film. Because with the Beerus film, they realized their mistakes, changed a few little details here and there, added in some filler, added in some extra moments and things like that. And then with the Frieza arc, I feel they didn't change anything at all. It was 9 episodes, which is like less than 180 minutes because each episode's under 20 minutes. The film and the 9 episodes is probably just about the same length. If you think about it that way, you know, it's maybe like an extra 10-20 minutes at most, the episodes. But that's it. And it's like, okay, they haven't really added anything. They haven't really changed any details. Yes, the animation gets cleaned up by this point, I think. I don't think there's any more bad animation from the Frieza arc onwards. But
There's no huge blunders, I don't believe, like massive blunders.
yeah. But yeah, like you said, they introduce another new form in blue. And yeah, Frieza's made to look weak. The
Like,
villain of anime.
The thing is, he can't even like he says, "Oh, I've got this new form, and I got it super fast by not doing a tiny bit of training." But I don't know how to control it, and he loses it.
Yeah.
So he's not only like Frieza is clever, he is smart, he is no fool. Yeah. He's not dumb, but he's
overconfident at times.
He's arrogant, but he's not dumb. And they make him look stupid because he can't keep his own form.
Yeah.
So he went there unprepared because he couldn't control his energy and he just lost the form. And that seems silly to me. And then also them getting blue, we didn't see any of that.
Yeah, it's a shame because if you haven't seen the Frieza film and you're just watching the show, which fair enough, but I mean you're not going to go in without knowing that Frieza's returning, pretty much. But even if you haven't watched the films, if you've watched Z, this is the first time Frieza's returned in 20 years or something. He is the most well-known anime villain of all time, potentially. He's a fan favorite. Everyone knows who he is. Everyone knows how powerful he is. He comes back with a new form just to leave again in 9 episodes, and he's defeated. He loses that new form, and that's it. Half of those 9 episodes as well, he doesn't fight or anything. You know, he's got the fights with his massive army. That happens. Everyone getting together to prepare for the fight and everything. You know, so the fight with Frieza and stuff probably only lasts maybe 3, maybe 4 episodes. And then he's gone again. It's like, okay, well, it was nice to see Frieza, I guess, but what happened? What did you do to my boy?
Yeah, it was very rushed, and it was literally the downfall of Frieza in my eyes.
Yeah, this could have done with more filler and more detail added, just like the Beerus arc. You know, they added probably double the length of the film time in filler and extra detail. They could have done the same for Frieza. They could have dragged out the fight a bit more. They could have added in a reason to pause or bring in a new mini boss that wasn't
One
what's his
shot
name?
Ginyu.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, why not have like 2, 3 episodes with Ginyu back? Like we haven't seen Ginyu since Z either, and he finally gets a body again, and that's it. He's done in one shot. Like give him like 2, 3 episodes before we move on to Frieza, because everyone is waiting to see Frieza fight in this new form. Everyone's getting prepared for it. Give Ginyu the satisfaction of being able to fight again and be back. But no, he's gone.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the way Goku's defeated with a ring, like when he gets shot by Sobe, which makes zero sense. Like, what is in that ring that can, like, seriously, like
Yeah.
he's fighting Freezer and everything, nothing's touching him, and then he gets shot by that in the heart. I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, and he doesn't die. Like, what is
Goku's
going on?
Goku, you know?
Just a lot of that film does not make sense, and I think, to be honest, it is one of the deserved. I think it is definitely one of the lowest arcs in Dragon Ball, and I think, to be honest,
Yeah.
deservedly so.
Yeah, I've got to agree. Which is sad to say because I love Frieza so much. He is my favorite villain out of all Dragon Ball villains, and yet this arc does him no justice at all, and it just ruins his legacy a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, not
I think
good.
they do redeem him a bit later in Tournament of Power,
Yeah.
when he can control his power properly and he can flex a little bit. And when we get to see a bit more of him when he can control the power. I mean, they do him a bit dirty again in the Broly film, but he gets time in the Tournament of Power at least to be, he gets to be Frieza again.
Yeah.
But Resurrection F is not his time.
No. But should we move on to the next arc?
Yes.
Yeah. So that what is next? We have Universe 6 and the duplicate Vegeta, copy Vegeta arc.
Yes.
They kind of go together in one.
Yes, these are interlinked.
Yeah.
I thought the introduction of Champa was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's the beginning of fleshing out of the godhood properly.
I like the introduction of all of the Universe 6 characters, to be honest. I loved seeing a bit of Hit's background and him coming in. I loved seeing Kaba, even killing Caulifla as well. I even loved the Frost stuff. His backstory was pretty cool, because obviously he's like Frieza race, kind of. But
it's the fact that it's a mirror universe, really.
Yeah.
I really like that. I thought it was really clever. It's, I know it's a cliche multiverse thing, like you could say, like, I like it personally.
Yeah,
I really enjoy it. The fact that there are more Saiyans and there is a legitimate reason to have more Saiyans, and it makes sense. I like that, and the fact that they've made the Saiyans different, so they've made them a peaceful race for the most part, unless you're Caulifla. She's such an angry young lady. I really like it. I'm very happy with that. Like, I think it's very clever. I do love Hit. He's such an interesting character. He's very good. He is voiced by the brilliant Matthew Mercer. He does a brilliant job with him. He always does a brilliant job.
Yeah, potentially my favorite new character introduced to Dragon Ball in Super.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that. I think I do enjoy. I'm a fan of the small tournaments. I very much enjoy that. I don't really have any massive issues with the small tournament for the most part.
No, I don't either.
No.
I like the introduction of the characters. I like the fight scenes were great as well. Even the filler episode, the baseball filler episode, was so good. I love a great filler episode because obviously the baseball episode had nothing to do with the plot or anything. We've got our filler here and there. There's some good filler and there's some really bad filler. And this was probably maybe the best filler episode out of all filler.
Yeah. I would argue it because there was genuine effort in the filler episode. Like there are some where it's just literally to flesh out and put more episodes in, whereas this there is a lot of throwback references and everything like that. they made an effort to
Mhm.
put something into this, and I love that.
And I love I always love it when they deviate from the main characters, because obviously Goku and Vegeta are the main characters and they're always going to be around. They're always going to be the spotlight. But I like it when some side characters can just get an episode to shine a bit. And this episode, the filler episode, even though it was, full of characters, this was Yamcha's episode to shine. And I loved that. I loved that he took center stage. He was telling everyone what to do. He was the star player. He got redemption for his meme. Like, everything happened, and it's great to see Yamcha just get that bit of shine. Loved it.
And I
Can't
mean,
can't follow it at all.
and I think the only big issue I had with the tournament, for the most part, is the fact that how dirty they did Piccolo. I think against Frost,
Ah,
I think they finally brought up Piccolo. They showed that he'd been practicing. He was doing so well. He'd had his multi forms. He'd used his arms again, his stretchy arms and everything. And it's like it's something that we hadn't seen in so long.
Yeah.
And it's like he's been doing it, and it's like he's gonna get our boy's gonna get the win. And it's like, and we haven't seen him do well and get wins until Superhero, when he's finally Orange Piccolo.
Yeah.
It's like it's took what till 2022 for him to finally get something. And we had to wait so long. And I would have loved for him to get the win. I kind of get why they didn't give it to him.
Yeah, I understand. They had to show why Frost was a bit of a
Sneakiness.
menace. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then they also had to show that Gohan is still strong as well by being able to, fight through Frost's power, through his poison. So, yeah,
But
understandable.
I would have loved to see him get the win. I think it was very disappointing that being Vegeta, Gohan, are you not thinking of when he fought Lavender or Basil?
Ah, yeah, sorry, I am. Yes.
I was thinking
Two people have poison powers, and
yeah.
I was getting them confused. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, Vegeta absolutely annihilates Frost afterwards.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I understand it though, because it was a tournament, and they can't just have every character win. They've got to give some wins to the opposite team, I guess. And Piccolo was their scapegoat, and I think he was probably the right choice, to be honest. He's a strong enough character to take a loss and not seem weak.
Yeah. You got to flex a bit, but it would have been nice.
Yeah.
I get why they do it. It's always disappointing to see.
Mm.
It would have been nice though. But for the most part, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I did like it. It was nice, and especially to step back into the tournament arena, tournament format, something you haven't seen in a long, long time.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
Yeah. But the second half of this arc, the duplicate Vegeta stuff.
What were they thinking? I don't understand. Where did
horrible.
this come from? I remember watching Super, and then I just thought, what's happening?
Yeah, this was.
I don't understand.
This was legit just extended filler for no reason. I don't understand why it went on for maybe 5-6 episodes or something like that. Almost as long as the entire Golden Frieza arc was this duplicate Vegeta arc. And it's
this
why?
wasn't even an arc or anything like this. This was this cannot be acknowledged as a bad guy or anything like this.
Yeah.
This is just the weirdest excuse for filler ever.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. I cannot fathom what they were thinking with this.
I don't get it. I don't understand why they thought it was a good idea, why they went through with it, why it went on for so long. If it was a one-off episode, I can maybe forgive them. But it wasn't. It was 4, maybe 5 episodes.
And it's literally just them once again, Goku just crapping all over Vegeta. The mocking ending, because Goku has to turn up and just save the day and just ruin Vegeta because Vegeta can't handle it.
Yeah.
It's it just feels like literally a bunch of episodes where Vegeta gets mocked.
Yeah.
And Goku has to save the day. It's
it wasn't necessary.
The writers got bored wanted to have a laugh at Vegeta for like 4 or 5 episodes, and then have Goku save the day.
That's the problem with the power levels again, though, because they've made them so high that they needed something to happen between the mini tournament and the tournament of power beginning, and they thought, okay, what can we do? Let's introduce like some mini villain just for a few episodes. But then also they still wanted to keep Goku and Vegeta involved because they're the main characters. And so they had to bring out this random blob fake Vegeta as an enemy to prove worthy of having Vegeta and Goku there, because he sucks all of Vegeta's energy out so he can't fight him. They need Goku to finish the job. And it's like, I understand, you want a mini villain just to pass some time, to show that something's happening in between things. But make a villain where, the minor characters can jump in. Imagine if they had those 5 episodes or so where it was a villain that was strong enough for like Krillin, TM, Piccolo, and Goku and Vegeta were just off training with Beerus or whatever, and you see little bits of them here and there, but they're not really around for these 5 episodes or so. And this mini villain is just, there for the minor characters. Give them a bit of shine. That would have been great. I would have loved that.
Because the weird thing is, Trunks and Goten are there.
Yeah, but they don't
And
really
can't
do anything. Yeah, such a waste.
Like they could have do it. Just have them sort it out.
Yeah, they could have had that whole arc where it's just Goten and Trunks. Finally, give them something to do that isn't Gotenks and isn't rubbish. But no, they're still useless. They still don't do anything, and it's still up to Goku to save the day. And it's like, come on, just if you're gonna put some focus on minor characters and bring them along, let them do something.
It was just this, in my opinion, of everything that happened in the entirety of Super,
is the worst thing.
Animation and everything like that is the worst part of Super.
Yeah,
in my opinion, because it does not make sense. Like, there's a lot of mistakes that were made. There's animation mistakes. There's general story that was like there, but this, it's the fact that it doesn't make sense. It's bad story writing, and it's just there's no reason for it to exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't get it, and I just think it's poor writing, and I don't like it. I would be very surprised if there's anybody who's basically like, I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I would honestly be surprised as well. I've never ever heard anyone talk about it in a positive light, so
no,
I'd be surprised. But for the sake of,
if leave a note in the comments if you disagree.
Yeah.
And please give us your reasons why we did wrong. Cause I can't see it.
Yeah, same here. But for the sake of time, let's move on. There's still 2 arcs left. So up next is the Future Trunks arc.
Yes.
Yeah. 30 episodes of the best arc in Super, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree. It is the best arc in Super. I think they did very well in this.
The villain was incredible. The best villain in Super introduced. With Zamasu and Goku Black, both of them held their own. It was an interesting twist to have 2 main villains at the same time, because there's always just one, and that one ends up transforming like 20 times. But for a change, there was 2 villains working side by side, and it was nice to see.
2 interesting villains as well.
Yeah, and 2, even though they're both technically Zamasu, they were both different and, held up together. And there was an obvious difference between them, and it's not just in looks either, but the battle styles, their attacks, everything was great.
Yeah, you could basically tell that obviously Zamasu in Goku's body fed off being a Saiyan, and he utilized that, and so he fought differently. I really enjoyed Goku Black. I really thought the way he fought and everything like that. I love how he looks, the way he fights. Super Saiyan Rose, I just think it does everything. I love it.
Yeah.
Very much enjoy it. I loved the entire arc. I thought it was great. I thought animation started stepping up. Things started looking really, really good. Things started getting a lot better. Some of the fights started looking really good. However, then, and I think there won't be anybody who disagrees,
The ending.
The ending happened.
Yeah. The ending was not good. I think they pushed themselves into a corner a bit because they made Zamasu invincible, and then they're like, "How? What are we supposed to do here? How can we end this properly?" I think they didn't have an ending when they started it, and then they just went with it, and then they're like, okay, we need to think of something here, but what makes sense? How do you kill an indestructible being? And it's like, yeah, make them just absorb the planet, absorb the universe.
To be honest, I think even Trunks' sword was silly. Like
Yeah, it was
I
kind of
didn't like the Spirit Bomb sword or whatever it is, Sword of Hope or
sort of
whatever it
hope.
was.
Yeah.
Like I just don't understand it. And it was like his got rage super saiyan
Mm,
like God God key that's not God key. It looks like God key but isn't God key, and
mm,
it just looks exactly like it but
mm.
isn't. It's just this random form that no longer exists or is talked about anymore.
Yeah.
Again, like it doesn't make sense. Like, and then he just randomly gets a sword out of nowhere. It's this. It just feels like an ex machina sword that
Mm.
allows him to win. The Vegito and also the Vegito separate, where it's like, oh, you happen to be too strong, and poof, now you have separated.
Mm. It was, in my opinion, though, it was nice to see because Future Trunks is one of my favorite characters. I loved him in Z, and
I thought they improved him. To be fair,
yeah, I was so happy to see him back in Super, and I loved all of the stuff where you went to Earth to see Gohan and to see Vegeta again. That was all incredible stuff. And I love the fact, even though the Sword of Hope, Sword of Light, whatever you want to call it, was a little strange, maybe not the best thought out thing, I appreciated the fact that Trunks got a mini win because he doesn't get one in Z. You know, he's the one who's there. Well, I mean, he kills Frieza, but even that's forgotten about literally 10 seconds after he's done it. They're just like, oh, by the way, androids are coming now. Forget about Frieza. And then that's it. So I don't even class that as a win. That's just him showing up and then moving on straight away. So he doesn't get a win in that entire arc when it should have been based around him maybe a little bit more than it was. But then here, he does get a bit of a win. It's finally nice to see,
yeah,
in my opinion.
yeah. And then obviously they have to call on Zeno afterwards.
Yeah,
He's
because
just
how do you kill someone that's
giggling
unkillable? The
as
Zeno
Zamasu
button.
giggling in the sky, like
Yeah,
weird. It just looks stupid as well. Lots of faces laughing in the
yeah.
sky.
I don't get it. What can he do? He doesn't attack when he's the sky. He's just green and fills up the sky. And it's like, okay, now what? Is that it? What are you gonna do?
Just let him laugh. Let him
Yeah.
laugh and look weird.
Imagine
Like
if Trunks is just like, okay, we can see his face, but he's not doing anything. Should we just get on with life now? Is that it? Is he done? I guess we can just. You can leave now.
I think it's just the ending was. I think that's the most disappointing thing. It was such a brilliant arc in my eyes. I enjoyed it so much, and
Yeah.
then it was kind of like,
Let's reset the universe.
don't understand why you've done this.
No.
But I think you're right that it's a case of that they did paint themselves into a corner.
Yeah.
It's
And
they should
maybe
have done something like a Shenron wish or something.
yeah, or maybe they did do it that way on purpose just because we haven't really seen the full power of Xeno at this point. And this was like the introduction to how strong he can be. By
Mhm.
look, he can destroy someone who's unkillable. He can reset the universe. He can fix any and all problems. And then we see that pushed even further when the Tournament of Power comes around.
Yeah. I don't know, but the execution, even if that is the case, the execution is poor.
Yeah.
It should have been a case of like that he was defeating them, they couldn't hold him back, and they realized that they didn't have a choice, and maybe they just had to hold Zamasu back as he was
Mm,
defeating them, and maybe somebody else asked Zeno to do it
yeah.
while they were just holding him back as Zamasu was just about to kill them or something like that.
Mm.
But instead of this weird laughing sky where Goku presses a button, but he could have pressed the button at the start of the arc if he really needed to do that. Like,
Yeah, he could have. He could have. But that's Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're completely right. Why didn't they just straight away go to Xena and say, "Hey, there's this guy who, he was one of your gods, angels. What was the
Hey,
master?
Zenny.
Kai? The master was a Kai.
Yeah,
So there's one of these Kais went rogue. He's trying to kill the universe. Can you just sort that out?" And
yeah.
then, yeah, that would have been it. But whatever. Time rips happen, all that stuff. And it's just like, yeah, okay, it is what it is.
Pain.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll move on to the final arc of Super, which is the Tournament of Power, which I have a gripe straight away because this arc was 55 episodes,
Yes.
which
My
is,
biggest thing is it's too long.
yeah, it's over a third of all of Dragon Ball Super, and it's just one long continuous fight. And yes, there's like how many 80 characters involved in this fight, and they all get a bit of screen time here and there. But also, over half of those characters do nothing, and probably half of that half are around for one episode, and then the remainder are the main characters, which is maybe like 10 characters, 20 characters out of the 80, and that's it.
Like it'd be very easy, like at the start, for there to be a bit of chaos, and you just hear loads of explosions and see loads of characters go and get blasted off straight away
Mm,
from randomers from other universes because they're
mm,
going to be very weak compared to people like you could just see like Top blast someone off straight away or
yeah,
Vegeta blast someone off straight away. Like you could easily just chuck out
10. Yeah.
five people from one random universe who were just from really weak, like
Mm.
from universe like did you 10? 10 was really weak, did you say? Yeah.
10
Just
was the
chuck
weakest one, I
five
think.
people out from universe 10 immediately. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like for Bergamo's universe, five people because they're one of the weakest.
Mm,
Yeah. The only people you need to keep in from Bergamo's universe are Bergamo, Basil, and Lavender because they're the only three people that we know
mm,
and they're really sneaky, so they'll just go hide, and then they'll come back later and try and attack Goku when he's by himself,
yeah.
and then they'll get eliminated. And that's all we need to see from them for a good while.
Yeah. But
So stuff like
on
that.
the flip side, I do like the fact that they gave every character a moment to shine, especially out of the main Universe 7 team. Like even Tien got a bit of a shine, Masa Roshi got an incredible episode, even Krillin a little bit, I guess, maybe. But yeah, every character in the team got a moment to shine, which I did like about the arc, but it was way too long, and there was a lot of fights that dragged out that didn't need to be because the arc was so long as it is. So I mean, they
Jiren
even
and
said,
Goku's fight was
yeah,
way too long.
yeah, they even said at the start like this is supposed to be what was it, 42 minutes or 49 minutes? It was one of those two. That's how long the tournament was supposed to last for, and it was either last man standing or universe with the most people after the time limit wins. And yeah, those 42 minutes or whatever last maybe 50 of the 55 episodes. They, yeah, this is
They,
really, really long.
they did a Frieza Goku, did the Namek Saga
Yeah.
again,
I mean,
basically.
I understand because they were doing like, this is what happened here on this side of the arena with these characters at the same time that this was happening with these characters. So it made sense, I guess. But maybe they just made a mistake by having that many universes in. If they had maybe like 6 or 5 universes instead of 8, then that's cutting out nearly half of the cast of characters that they need to introduce. And it would have still been epic. There would have still been 50, maybe 60 new characters, and they could have still done a lot with them and just reduced the episodes by like 10, 15, 20.
But the thing is, they did things like they made that massive robot boss or whatever, a fusion boss.
Yeah.
Um, like, did you need that? Did they fought like they fought? Didn't they fight that for like 2, 3 episodes or something?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Like, you didn't need to fight that thing for that long. Like,
Mm,
they should have just eliminated that universe. Like, it didn't need to happen. I don't
mm,
think. Like, you had Jiren was going to be your big bad,
yeah,
and then you had Toppo, who's going to be your destruction. They were a big fight. They were a big factor.
yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
think that's another big problem,
I
that the
understand.
fact that you had you had Top and you had Jiren, and they were huge fights that lasted very, very long.
Mm.
And the fact that Jiren was not an engaging villain,
Mm.
or
Yeah.
no, he's not a villain, I suppose, an antagonist.
Mm.
The fact that he just wasn't that interesting,
Yeah.
so he just gave threatening statements, and then Goku would engage, and
Mm.
they'd swing at each other for a while,
And then
and
that's it.
he'd get into Ultra Instinct, and then he'd drop out of it, and then he'd get into it and drop out of it, and
Yeah,
it just the fight went on for too long.
it
And if
did.
it was an engaging enemy like Frieza or
Mm.
somebody like that, where there was a back and forth, it might have been more interesting. But if it
Yeah.
had to be Jiren, it shouldn't have been as long.
Yeah, I understand what they were doing though, because they were ambitious by introducing 80 new characters all at once. But I understand as well that they wanted to give a bit of shine because they thought up these new characters, there's new possibilities, new universes to explore. They've got to make each universe unique and different and a reason for hope for the future that we might see these characters return again. So they've all got to be at least somewhat interesting. But also, they didn't though. Like that is what they were going for. They wanted each universe to be slightly different to each other, slightly different, slightly interesting at least. But they didn't. They could have had 2 or 3 universes which were just boring characters that were quickly eliminated because there is so many characters. They're never ever gonna retread and bring back all of these characters in the future. It's not gonna happen. Even if for whatever reason they do some arc quest like, oh, guess what? There's a Dragon Ball in each universe. Get all of them and you can grant this mega wish. And it's like, yeah, maybe. Maybe then we'll see all these characters back. But that's probably not going to happen. So yeah, then we're never going to see half of these characters again. And they didn't need to be dragged out for so long. So yeah.
Like, I don't think we'll see people like Ribrianne in that again.
If anything, I think they were one of the more interesting ones. But like Universe 10, like you mentioned, they've got no memorable characters. Universe 2 as well, I think. No, not 2. 2 was Ribrianne. Universe...
Yeah, 2.
I
I
can't
don't
remember
think
which
we'll
one's
see 2
which.
again. I'll be surprised.
Yeah, I can't remember which universes is which, to be honest. But there's a lot of them that would just say, okay, these are characters I understand, they look a bit different. But do I care? Nah, not really. Even the universe with the 2 Namekians that come in, and like, yeah, they were cool for the episode. Are we going to see them again? Nah. Like, that's it.
No.
And they were the only standouts of their universe, I think, because I can't remember their teammates, if I'm honest. But, yeah.
This is the thing, like, they spent a lot of time introducing these characters, like Universe 2. Like, we learned loads of, I think this is what I've said previously when I was talking about worst universe in the last podcast, is they spent such a build up on Universe 2 and they did nothing. And I don't think this is why we're going to see them again, because, and it's like they spent so much time and you thought they were going to be so important, but they just did nothing.
Yeah.
And this is why I don't think we'll see them again, because I think they were just built for the tournament power.
Maybe. I think the 3 girls, there's a good chance we will. But the men of the team, definitely not. They look like OG Dragon Ball villains. They just look like normal people who happen to be in this fight who are wearing, well, by the end of it, once they transform, just weird costumes. They look like OG Dragon Ball villains. They didn't look like a threat. So I was like,
they've taken the ladies, Bianca Kunz's and Rosie's uniforms.
Yeah.
They've been like transformed onto them.
Yeah.
It looked odd because I'd been used to seeing the ladies wear them. It's just a weird transfer across.
And then I guess as well, the ending was maybe a bit of a cop out. I understand it. They had to bring everyone back. Like, that was going to happen. They spent way too much time, especially with Champa and that whole universe, building up these characters, and then building up with Jiren and Toppo as well in the Tournament Power, that it just made sense to bring them back. But it is a bit of a cop out, let's face it.
Yeah.
They're fighting to save the universe, and then at the end, it didn't matter because everyone was just brought back. Right.
It ended up as the standard Dragon Ball lack of consequences.
Yeah, just at the end of an arc, and then things went back to normal, and then that's it.
Like even if they just brought back Universe 6.
Yeah.
Because we need Universe 6 because they're actually recurring characters, whereas we don't need any of the other ones. It wouldn't
To be
matter.
fair, true. Yeah.
We don't need any of the other ones. We don't need any of the other ones that have been involved because we won't technically probably see them again.
Mhm.
I mean, I know they've been in like the non-canon cartoon. What's it called?
Has Dragon Ball Heroes?
Yeah.
Super Dragon Ball Heroes? Yeah.
Yeah, I keep getting mixed up with superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like obviously that's not canon. But I imagine we will have a lot to do with Champa and Vados and everybody
Yeah.
in the new Super coming up.
And
So
we know as well that Jiren will come back, because even in Superhero they hinted like, oh, we gotta train because Jiren is so strong and we need to find a way to beat him and stuff. So Jiren will be back, but he's such a he's a nothing character to me. But yeah, I guess this segment has went on long. So I think we've had enough gripes there that we've talked about. And I'm sure you guys as well who are watching have a lot of comments on things that you didn't like, which I'm interested to hear about. So leave some comments for what you don't like about Super, and we'll definitely read the comments.
but also
Especially
what
to
you
see
do
them.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see what you do
Yeah.
like as well.